Hello YouTube, welcome. Your boy Bomber here with another do-it-yourself video. What we're doing today is we're replacing this old shower and tiling setup. So here's some of the things we're going to have to look for. So what we're going to do is we need to take this off, the old tower rack, and then this glass will have to come off. The tiles will be changed, the showers will be updated. I'm going to try and put a mixer in there, get rid of those, we don't need those anymore. Looking around at how to remove this, you can see there's some screws, they're pretty old, so I have a screwdriver. Phillips head to take that out. There's none in the floor, which isn't too bad. This one here is the same, they're pop rivets. I've already sort of forced my hand at this pop rivet and got it out a bit, which you can see in here, it separates. So I reckon all I need to do is probably release the silicone all along there, and that hopefully will release the glass and pop that out. I want to try not to break anything, I don't want to be picking up glass, so I'm hoping I can take it out with one clean sheet. There's a couple of pop rivets again along there, so we'll see what we're going to do to move them out. So anyway, stick around, let's see what happens, eh? Okay, so this style of shower rack, there's two screws in the back here. So normally a bit of a hit like that, pop it up, and there you go, it comes off, just like that. And we can remove this, and then it's up to us if we want to install it again or update it for a different style. I'll just drop that. And the same thing on this one, just force that up and there you go, it comes out nice and clean, no worries. So what happens is here, even though the water is only inside the shower, we actually need to come out an extra tile, maybe even two, because you need to paint the whole thing with waterproofing. So you've got to waterproof everything before you retile. So we'll have a look, either we come just to that point or we come across here. If that happens, then I'm going to have to probably replace that tile as well, because these are going to have to move across, and that's going to have to move across, so we'll see what happens. We'll deal with that as we get to it. So for now, here's some of the tools I'm using, some old chisels to get at the tiles as well if I need to, screwdrivers and a hammer, but I'm going to be starting with this bad boy. And one of the things I'm looking at is running it all the way along like this, and as you can see there, it's lifting up the silicone. So the more I lift up, the better it's going to be for me to try and get that out, yeah? So let me do that. Okay, so I've released this outside frame. And as you can see along the bottom here, it was really only held together by some stubborn, 20-year-old silicone up on the wall. So once I've removed the screws, put a bit of oomph behind it, and that's come off. And this side should do the same. So what I've done here is I've hammered out the pop rivets that were there. You can see just there in the middle. Yeah, and that should be able to reef straight off once I've loosened up some of the silicone around there as well. Okay, so this channel is what was holding the piece of glass in here, and I was wondering why it was so stubborn to take out, and it was actually the little thin bit was sitting inside there, and as you can see here, there's actually screws into the wall, which is why I couldn't separate the two from there. So that's a little handy hint if you may come across why it's not coming apart. Okay, so as you can see, there you go, glass is all removed. I haven't bothered to clean up too much. I did use my dustpan to clean up some of it, not all of it, because all this floor here is going to get ripped up anyway. I'm thinking it's old enough, and you can see the cracks along the, what do they call it, the grout there, and I think the water's gone down, seeped up, and could be sitting in the walls. On the other side, it's starting to flake a little bit. The other thing is, you can see here, I've covered it up, because if I start smashing all these tiles off, I don't want stuff to fall in the bottom of it, yeah? So Next stage is that. I don't need to turn the water mains off just yet because I haven't touched any of this business. The idea is to take one tile off and have a look at what's going on around it. And then I'm not going to tile myself, but I've got a mate who's a tiler and he'll come and do it for me anyway. Free of charge. Okay, so I've made a start, and I think this has obviously been old ceramic tile straight onto the concrete. It's a little bit wet there, which is interesting because it means water's been leaking through the grout into there, and that's why the brickwork has been drinking, going down and then back up through the wall onto the other side. So your first one's always your hardest, and then the rest you just hit it with a chisel and the hammer and so on, and you crack it away. As you can see, that goes in there quite easily. Break that apart. I think I may stop and go and get myself a little mini jackhammer and crack away that way and just make a whole lot of noise and a whole lot of mess and get it over and done with. Okay, so this little thing here was sitting in the top up there, and the door was sitting on it, right? You can imagine what's happened. So all I've done is I've unscrewed that, popped it out, taken the door out, make it a bit easier. And I've started scraping all along the bottom there and along those sides, taking the silicone off and up along the wall there in an attempt to try and get some more movement. And you can see now that's coming off, yeah? So it's a bit stubborn in those other areas, so that's what I'm working on now. Okay, so to release this side, I've used a bit of muscle and kind of shook it without giving it too much. Don't forget, this is a piece of glass, so it is actually a bit heavy. Be mindful. Just keep releasing it, and eventually it'll pop off. Once it pops off, carry that away, clean up the water. Got a bucket and what's that called? A pan, bloody brush and thingy. Dust pan, yep. And I'm cleaning up as I go, yeah? Okay, continuing on here, what I've done now is I've drilled holes throughout the tiles, and what I'm finding is every time I hit it with the hammer and the chisel, it's popping up easier because the cracks are then sort of linking the dots and the tiles are falling off a bit easier. Progressing along. So the taps that were in the bottom here, I don't want them anymore. So that was sitting there. So I've gone to my local hardware and I bought these end bits, but I actually need to go get the other one. So I bought 3 of these instead of that one. Now, this one on here was very stubborn. I couldn't get it off, so I got my, what's that one? 1316, and I put that on there, hit that on with a chisel, and then hit it again with a hammer and got it to release itself and bring it out. So I'm back off to the hardware to get 2 more of those because I want to shut that off permanently and probably put a bit of concrete, and then when we tile we'll see how flush we can get it up on there. A bit difficult, but we'll see what happens. So what I need done is to get rid of all this. I don't need it. I probably need a new pipe from here straight up to there because I don't want to use this anymore. I want to get rid of that and make that into a mixer. So you'll need to do the same thing on that side as well. So can I use those shark bite things to cut that out and put a connector in there and maybe in there, or should we weld a whole new pipe up into that part and then into the shower will be fine. Okay, we've ripped out the old connection. So me being the amateur, I was going to try and cut it, you know, there and there, and then leave that piping in. And I've obviously called in a plumber. Yeah, it's going to cost me a couple $100, but he's cut them back here, and he'll just put new pipes all the way up, and we'll set a mixer in there. Should be sweet. Okay, so here's where we're at now. The plumber's come and done his job. You can see from previous. He's connected that up. He's used a crimping system now instead of soldering or welding it together. Got rid of all the old stuff, connected the new, and we're ready to go to the next stage, which is we let that stuff dry, and then we can waterproof everything before we start tiling. Okay, the progress report so far. I'm not allowed in because I'm an amateur, I'm not a tiler. So this is what we've done, what the tiler's done. He's prepared the wall before he does his tiling. He's taken out that tile there because I chipped it. There's another one up the top there that he wants to take out as well. He's cleaned up along here. Not bad, getting there. So before you tile, you need to waterproof, and this is one of the products I've bought. This is a 15 litre drum, and this costs me at a local hardware store $130, but it's a good one from what I've been told. And after the cement rendering has been done, we let that dry, and then we just coat this stuff everywhere. It's very thick.
Yeah.
Okay, the first coat of the wall being rendered, as you can see just along there, and the waterproofing is now on. There's a bit more to do. We still got to measure exactly what size shower glass we want before the rest of the tiling is done, so a bit more work to do tomorrow. We need to let this now dry up. So the tiling has commenced. The new look needs to be tidied up a little bit more, depending on where our shower frame fits along there. We'll either have to chip a bit of black or a bit of the white tile on. Now, 2 metre high shower screen, all fitted through there. Don't worry about the silicone along here because this whole floor is going to be retiled, and you won't see any of that. It's going to be covered. Otherwise, everything else is done. Mixer's on. Shower head is coming as soon as all the silicone around there dries. We've tidied all that up. Beautiful. All in there is all done. Waterproofed. All in there. Perfect. Smooth technique. Love it. Great work. That's how you install your shower screen, 2 meters high. Okay, here we are. Everything is now complete, almost everything, the final stage. You see, like I said before, the floor's now been tiled. It's all been sorted out. Just got to run some silicone along the edge there. So that's been sorted. New floor waste. That's all set up. That's all been sorted. Shower's been sorted. Tiling's been done. I went ahead and added a new vanity as well. Took the old one out. Looking schmick. So guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into some of the actions that go on. Come back for some more.